There is a land as far away as Texas is wide, beyond the sunset, past the horizon, a land bathed in lore and as wild as the West ever was. It's a land called El Paso. El Paso sits at a crossroads where Texas meets Mexico, both old and new. 12 hours from the other side of our fair state, and 8 to 10 from all other major Texas cities. So if you're headed west, partner, better settle in, because it's gonna be a long ride. This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. The legend of El Paso is almost as big as the legend of Texas. And thanks to country singer Marty Robbins, so is the legend of our first stop. Rosa's Cantina, that famous saloon out in the West Texas town of El Paso. And if memory serves, then Felina should be. Ah, yes. Oh, hi! Whoa, that got weird fast. Let's just fast forward to the end of the song. Yes, if you recall, it didn't go so well for old Marty Robbins in that song. But luckily, this tripper has more than just one life. So you know the song and the folklore, but what do you really know about the true El Paso? It's likely much different than you expect. Just like the real Rosa's Cantina, which nowadays is more restaurant than renegade, and more friendly than evil Felina. So let's explore with as much as we can pack into one day, starting with the historic home that epitomizes this multicultural city. Okay, so this is Leslie Bergloff with the Mhome home, and I feel like I've stepped back in time here. Tell me about this place.
This is a wonderful place. This is an El Paso treasure. It was built in 1875 by Joseph Mhome and his wife Octavia, and it's a wonderful adobe building. One of the most unique buildings in the state of Texas. We're really proud of it.
Just like El Paso itself, the Mhomens were a blended race family. Joseph Mhome served 4 terms as El Paso mayor and owned businesses, allowing him to live quite comfortably.
This is the formal parlor of the Mhome home, and this would have been the place that if you came to visit Joseph and Octavia, that they would have brought you if you were a visitor. And so it's one of the most beautiful rooms in the house. A lot of this are their original furnishing.
This room is almost identical to how it was in the late 1800s. Even down to the hanging pufferfish, an extremely exotic thing to show off to your friends back then.
They were friendly folks. They liked to have fun, and the Mhome home was a real social center in El Paso. They had this wonderful table. It's one of the oldest pieces in the Mhome home, and it actually has 10 leaves in it.
Wow.
I know, it's really remarkable. And what they used to do is take it out into the hallway and they could have a big dinner party.
It's not hard to picture this whole place full of people and food and music. The family lived in this house for 107 years, through decades when almost all other adobe homes in El Paso were torn down, making this one truly something special.
The Mhome home is on the National Register of Historic Places. It's a state landmark. And of course, it's a state historic site and it's a state archaeological site. So it has a lot of designations, and that's a wonderful thing because that helped to preserve it.
You know, historic homes really should take you back to that era, allow you to step back in time without leaving a modern city, and this one does such a good job at it. As the Mhomens aged, El Paso expanded. Mansions rose and mansions fell. It was the railroad that transformed this frontier town into a modern city. Today, El Paso looks and feels like a well-seasoned cast iron skillet, old mixing with new, and Texas mixing with Mexico. Like an endless tide, people move back and forth daily between El Paso and Juarez, which is much closer than you might realize. And after a quick check-in with Border Patrol, here we go to Border Monument numero uno. And we are crossing the Rio Grande. El Rio Grande. Okay, so this is border monument number 1, the first of 258 other markers that go from here in El Paso all the way to the Pacific Ocean along the southern border of the United States. It's right here where the US-Mexico line no longer follows the Rio Grande and it starts to follow these markers. And this is the first one. It's right here in Texas. And now what this all means is that on the other side of this line is Mexico. What do you think? Should we become an international travel show? I can't do it. I think I'll just stay here in Texas. Besides, we got a lot more to see. And there's definitely someone who can see us. So without my passport, I better stay stateside. Despite the official demarcation, borders can't hold back culture. And borders certainly can't hold back food. So with my tummy rumbling, let's head to an El Paso icon, L&J Cafe, a Mexican restaurant which, as the sign says, specializes in Mexican food. But not just any Mexican food, the kind that's been feeding El Pasoans for over 85 years. And the guy running the show today is Mr. Leo Duran.
L&J were my parents, Lily and John Duran. My maternal grandparents, Antonio and Juanita Flores, they were the original founders back in 1927.
27? Wow, this place goes back. Originally Tony's place, L&J has seen some times. From the days of an all-male staff, some in bow ties nonetheless, to days of speakeasies and covert slot machines.
Legend was it back then that my grandfather had some very high connections with the local authorities here, and so whenever raids were coming down, they'd give them a heads up somehow and they'd disappear momentarily.
Oh, that's great. While the slot machines might have been a secret, the food was not. How different was the food back in 1927 to what it is now?
You know, I'd like to think that it was pretty much the same because these recipes go back at least about 4 generations that we know. That is part of the reason I think we have been successful.
Okay, so what do you think of L&J?
Oh, it's great. I've been coming here my whole life. It's delicious.
Well, we like to come to old-time, authentic places, and we want to go back to what was good.
Yeah, taste something that maybe people were eating 50 years ago.
Exactly.
So would you call this Tex-Mex?
No, that's down in Central Texas. Out here is true Mexican food. It's got to have red enchilada sauce or green enchilada sauce.
And it turns out that's exactly the specialty here at L&J. Specifically, the green sauce enchiladas with chicken, which I do believe I'll have for myself. Oh man, look at this. Whenever I come to a classic joint, I love getting the classic dish. Shredded chicken enchiladas topped with the house green chili sauce, cheese, rice, beans. Man, these huge chunks of soft, sweet, spicy green chilies. The same enchiladas that folks were eating back in the 20s and 30s. And this ain't Tex-Mex. This is El Paso Mexican food. This is exactly why this place is one of El Paso's most beloved institutions. Classic. The food is certainly L&J's ace, but their other claim to fame is that they are, quote, the old place by the graveyard. Well, Mexican food and tombstones don't normally go together, but here it might as well be rice and beans. This is El Paso's historic Concordia Cemetery. Since its first resident was interred in the 1850s, this cemetery has held everyone from Mexican presidents to Buffalo Soldiers to Texas Rangers. But perhaps its most famous resident rests right here. Okay, so this is the grave of John Wesley Hardin, one of the deadliest gunfighters in Texas history. As infamous as Jesse James or Billy the Kid, John Wesley was born in Bonham, Texas, and claims to have killed more than 40 men, all while being chased clear across the state and the South. But despite running as fast as he could, eventually the law caught up with him. He was captured, served his time in prison, only to get out and be gunned down here on this El Paso street corner at what was the Acme Saloon. Yeah, so despite having come to El Paso, trying to settle down, practice law, as they say, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Or in John Wesley's case, the gun. And John Selman, the man who gunned him down, also happens to be buried here in Concordia Cemetery. We now interrupt this programming to remind you to like and subscribe. Now back to the road. Yes, many outlaws spent time in El Paso, including the revolutionary Pancho Villa, who used to recruit fighters on the streets of El Paso. And while he died in Parral, Mexico, his lone trigger finger made it back to El Paso and can be used today for only $9,500, payable to Dave's Pawn Shop downtown. And if dead guy's fingers aren't your thing, you might be interested in a vampire baby heart, or maybe a manfish head. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Look at this one. That's the creature from the Black Lagoon. Or perhaps your very own chupacabra. Okay, so you can decide for yourself if you believe any of it. But one thing's for sure in El Paso. With all these cowboys, lawmen, and outlaws moving through town, you can bet your buckle that there were a lot of boots. And you know what? There still are, as El Paso firmly owns the title of boot capital of the world. From huge outlets, to mom and pop makers, to boot legends like this one, Lucchese. Founded in 1883 in San Antonio, Lucchese Boots is now based here in El Paso, where they're still turning out some of the finest boots in Texas. Man, look at all these boots. You got classics, and then the crazy ones. Look at that. I doubt any cowboys in 1883 were wearing this kind of boot right here. Hey, you know what else was founded in 1883? Oh, nice. Gator skin. This is for all those cowboys in Beaumont. Oh, and for all the cowboys out here in West Texas, rattlesnake. What is this? This is dinosaur skin. It's authentic Brontosaurus, actually. Found it out here in West Texas. For over a century, these boots have adorned many a famous foot. They all got a custom fit and a custom boot.
You like them?
Kind of a nice burnt orange. I like it. Lucchese is classic Texan. But if you're looking for something unlike any boot that has ever walked the prairies of Texas, you should head to Rocket Buster Boots to hop on a booty rocket ship headed straight for another universe. Okay, so this is Navina, the boss lady here at Rocket Buster Boots. What the heck are you guys doing?
We make handmade custom boots painstakingly every day of the week in the oldest tradition of handmade boots.
Oh my gosh, but these aren't your normal custom-made boots. I mean, look at some of these. This is
boring
incredible.
People don't buy our boots. Fun boots for fun people.
I like the way you said that. So what's the craziest thing you've ever put on a boot?
I can't tell you about that one. No,
what's the second craziest thing?
Most recently, I'm working on Godzilla vs. Mothra, and it's gonna have the atomic symbol. It's very cool.
Starting at about $800 and going skyward from there, Rocket Buster has made boots for everyone, from celebrities to astronauts, from the insanely cool to the insanely colossal. These things are huge. What's the story on these?
Oh, well, my husband Marty, he wanted to be in the Guinness Book and build the world's largest boots. And we made them right here in our shop. It took 2 months.
So these are made just like a smaller boot would, but they're humongous. Yeah. So when Paul Bunyan comes in and he needs a pair of boots, y'all are willing to sell.
So ready for him. Yeah.
Okay. So how does the process start if someone needs wants a pair of custom boots?
Well, you happen to be right next to the step up box, so step up, man. Let me trace your feet.
I could use a new pair of boots, I think.
Yeah, you got to take those off first, though.
Now this is service. I like this. Okay, Navina, I don't know if I'm actually going to buy these boots.
Everybody says that until they call me and they ask me to pull their tracing out of my file. So I'm glad that I got all your measurements done. I'm gonna even do a sketch for you, just so you have something to pin on your refrigerator.
Oh no.
I think I'm ready for you.
Oh no, she already has the logo and everything. I'm being set up.
I think it would be really cool if it sort of had natural, rugged colors.
Yeah, Day Tripper, that just goes so well on a boot. And hypothetically, let's just say I was to order these boots.
So I finish the pattern,
okay,
and it goes there, and he starts cutting it. And he has very sharp knives. After the pattern's all cut, then it goes over here to Raul.
Wow.
And look how precise. He's freehanding it along the edge.
Man, that takes some serious skill.
After the stitching, it comes over here to Uni, and we do assembly. That's when the flat pieces become kind of like a sock with a hole in it.
I got it. This is something that actually looks like a boot.
Yeah, it's getting there. And then I have to grab the customer's foot tracing and make our last look like their foot. This guy has a really high instep. He needs a little extra here,
Okay,
there.
okay.
So
Cool.
from there,
All
it
right.
goes down to Pete. He's gonna put the last in and
Okay.
start stretching and tacking until that leather here just totally starts forming into the shape of a boot. 24 years that man's been working for us.
Impressive.
He is our consistent fit.
How long does one of these take to make?
Because we have a waiting list, because sometimes they want me to draw the craziest patterns in the world, we run at about 4 to 4.5 months right now.
4 months for a custom piece of foot art? Not bad. And I think I need to start stuffing my piggy bank. But we don't need cowboy boots for the place we're headed. More like hiking boots. As we head into Franklin Mountain State Park, the largest urban wilderness area in the U.S., covering roughly 40 square miles, all inside the El Paso city limits. With over 100 miles of trails, you could spend weeks here. We may not have time for all of it, but we do have time for one hike, up to the Aztec Caves, with Park Superintendent Cesar Mendez.
Welcome to Franklin Mountain State Park.
Hey, this is a beautiful mountain range.
Yeah, Franklin Mountain State Park encompasses most of the Franklin Mountains, which are considered to be the southernmost tip of the Rocky Mountains.
So we're in the Rocky Mountains right now?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's very unique in terms of geology. It's considered to be a world-class lab in terms of learning about how the earth was formed. You can find in this mountain range the oldest rocks in Texas, about 1.2 billion years old.
Billion with a B.
Yes.
Wow. The Franklin Mountains are part of the vast Chihuahuan Desert, with diverse geology, animals, and amazing plant life.
That's how you know you are in the Chihuahuan Desert. This is the lechuguilla.
So this doesn't grow anywhere outside of the Chihuahuan Desert?
No, it's unique to the Chihuahuan Desert. These plants flower only once in their lifetime. When they shoot the flower, they die. That's why
Really?
you have this plant right here dying.
So this one has already flowered.
Yes.
And this one will flower once, and in one big glorious moment dies.
Yes.
Right after that. Man, these are some nasty spikes on this
Well, in the Chihuahuan Desert, you find a lot of spiky vegetation. Here you have a prickly pear.
thing. Oh, this is a rough place to live or be an animal. And that's exactly why I have so much respect for the desert. With so little water, it's amazing anything lives out here at all, making the plants and animals of the desert the toughest survivors in the world. Luckily, this hike isn't too bad to survive, and it looks like we've arrived at the Aztec Caves. Oh man, it feels much better in the shade here.
Yes, it is nice and cool. Well, you know why they call it the Aztec Caves? It tells the story that back in the early 1900s, some people found pottery and weaving material. Pretty much what they knew back then, it was the Aztecs. So they said it has to be from the Aztecs. So they started calling it the Aztec Caves.
Yeah, they were just 1,000 miles off or so. Most likely, the relics in this cave were left by the Ornata Mogollon. They actually lived in the Chihuahuan Desert. Now, the burn marks on the ceiling and the paint on the walls, well, those are from modern times. But there's something else very ancient that you might want to look for in the cave. The Franklin Mountains are just full of nature and history, but they're also full of legend. And one of those is that of the Lost Padre Mine. You see, legend holds that a group of Jesuit priests came to these mountains bearing treasure on the backs of 30 mules. They stashed it in a mine that has since been lost to time, but that hasn't stopped folks from looking for it, or the priests from coming back to claim what they left behind. Today, we've got no time to look for lost mines. Besides, the view alone is reward enough for me. But believe it or not, there's another one in this state park that's even better. And it just so happens that it's even easier to get to, because all you gotta do is enjoy the ride on the Wyler Aerial Tramway. Opened in the 1960s, it's the state's only public tramway. And in only 4 minutes, you can climb 940 vertical feet to the top of Ranger Peak. Oh wow, this is incredible. You can see El Paso in the distance, and the view keeps getting better and better, and we are getting higher and higher. A gondola in Texas makes me feel transported to Switzerland without leaving the Lone Star State. And here we are, atop Ranger Peak at an altitude of 5,632 feet above sea level with a view of 7,000 square miles. Oh, awesome, awesome. Come look, right there. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? Oh, sorry, man. Man, this is an amazing view. Not just of Texas, but of 3 states and 2 countries. US and Mexico, and then Texas, New Mexico, and the Mexican state of Chihuahua. That's the Rio Grande snaking its way up through the valley. You got downtown. Right over here is the Sun Bowl and UTEP. Oh, and then this right here, as you see the bridge going over the Rio Grande right there, that's the main point of entry into Juarez. And Juarez just seems to go on forever. I mean, it goes beyond the bend of the horizon. Wow. I mean, to see anything from this high up, it's pretty special. But to see Texas from this high up, that's something amazing. Man, I could stay up here for hours. But I was told by countless natives that there's one spot I have to go to or else I didn't go to El Paso. And well, I want this day to count. So let's head back down the mountain. And that spot, beloved by El Pasoans like no other, is the revered Chico's Tacos. Chico's originally opened in 1953 with this store on Alameda. Like much of El Paso, the Chico Taco is a thing of legend.
They have that taste no other foods have.
So basically, it's in your blood.
Yeah.
Do you crave these things?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, they're strange. You just have to have them. It's just a big glob of cheese and taco and juice. I don't know. It's the only taco you can drink.
He goes right after it. Well done.
Got a little cheese mustache.
It's like a thin enchilada sauce or something? What?
It's nothing like enchilada sauce. It's like tomato.
Okay.
But without, I don't know, it's just weird.
It's just something.
You can't describe it. It's just so good that you can't describe it.
Okay, that worked. Yeah. Let me see you do this. I'm gonna watch you attack this. Yep. I wanna watch you eat one of these things right now. Okay, the fork. Into the end.
If you're finished with your tacos and you still have juice, you put all the french fries in there and it soaks up the juice and it has the flavor.
I got it. You eat that with the fork, right? Just pile it in.
No, with the hands.
Oh, it's all about the hands.
Yes.
Okay. Hard to describe. It's a thing of mystery and beauty. Ground beef rolled inside of a corn tortilla, deep fried, placed in a paper nacho boat, topped with the house's special tomato sauce, and then smothered with something I can only describe as good old-fashioned government cheese. Order up. All right, here we go. I got a double order of Chico's Tacos. That's 6 tacos, smothered in the house sauce and covered with cheese. Part taco, part flauta, part enchilada. Oh yeah. Nothing fancy, but that's the point. The beef, the deep-fried crispy crunch, the tomato sauce, the cheese, it just all sort of comes together for this magical Chico's Taco experience. That was delicious. I mean, and who needs ketchup when you got a boat full of Chico's sauce? The young kids are raised on it. The high school and college kids crave it. Pig out food, late night food, all good Chico's Tacos food. From down in the valley to high on the mountaintops, from historical people to historical plates, El Paso is different from any other part of Texas, yet as Texan as they come. Man, was this not a great day in El Paso del Norte. So I'll see all y'all out on the road. Bye con Dios, amigos. Ooh, I got a taco left. So this is Border Monument. It just all sort of comes together. Ridiculous. Hey, look, cowboy boots. Get it? Cowboy boots.
Oh, hi. Whoa, Gabe. Whoa.
Oh, what's your name? You're just so sweet, aren't you?
The beard. Is it normal in this town?
Yeah, we grow it. We braid it sometimes.
Oh, well, do you have a sister? Maybe it's just... Okay, whatever.
Whiskey, please. Whiskey, 2 of them. Just for me. Howdy, y'all. Follow along with my adventures at Chet Tripper on Instagram and at The Day Tripper TV on Facebook and YouTube. Or head to thedaytripper.com for travel guides, past episodes, and info on our mobile app and Team Day Tripper. This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Howdy, y'all. Chet the Day Tripper here. Thanks so much for tripping with us. Remember, while you're here, like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can stay out there on the road and keep on tripping. Did we miss anything in this town? Leave us a comment, let us know. We love finding out about new stops with all of your tips. And if you love Epic Texas Day Trips, remember to check our channel. We got a lot of them on there. Also, don't forget, if you want some sweet Day Tripper merch or another cool Texas-made product, come see us in Georgetown at the Day Tripper World Headquarters. You can also shop online if you check the link down there in the caption. All right, y'all. Bye con Dios, amigos.